Hello, folks. Welcome to live cardboard number 12. Number 12, yeah, I think it's number 12. Tonight we're going to be talking about naval games, which I have to say, uh, I have a bunch that I I haven't played. So we're going to talk about the ones I have played and the ones I haven't played. I hadn't thought about. I didn't intend to do this topic right away, but about a month ago we did an episode on air war and air games, and somebody wrote me to say, "Hey, I really like that air war game, the air game episode. Now do naval." So I don't know. Here we are. We're gonna give it a go. Anyway, before we get started, thanks as always to the Pushing Cardboard supporter. If you'd like to become a supporter, there's a link to my Ko-Fi page in the video description. There's also links to my Noble Knight and Cube for Me affiliate pages. So if you that's another way to help out the channel if you want. Anyway, glad you're here, whether you're a supporter or not. It's good to talk to you all every couple of weeks. I have to say, things I didn't know if I was going to make it tonight. Things are a little hectic here at Pusher Central. My wife and I are having like this giant renovation done to our house. It's one of those things where we started with like, oh, it's time to get rid of the rugs and the flooring, do new flooring, and then it just grew. It grew to the point where we're going to be out of the house for 4 months. So my little lair in the basement, nothing's happening in the basement, so I can get back into the house to do these streams and my podcast stuff, record that stuff. But I'm kind of living out of this little apartment right now. It feels very weird. Anyway, I have still been playing a few things before we get on to stuff. I've been playing. I wonder if anybody else has got this game. Beware the Ides of March from John Thiessen and Hollenspiel. It's an interesting game set just after the killing of Caesar. So on one side is the triumvirate of Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus, and on the other side is the Republic. It's a big hex map divided into provinces, but there's hardly any units. There's no, especially when you want to take some of these neutral spots, you have to got to leave someone there to sort of garrison it. So anyway, it's an interesting game. The key mechanic is prestige, and I got to say, in my initial playings, both sides lose prestige fairly quickly, and the loser is the person who loses all their prestige first. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'll get better at it, and one side or the other will be able to actually increase their prestige. I don't know. It seems like that's not going to be the way, but we'll see. I don't know. If you've played the game, let me know if you played it, what you think of it. I'm sure that I'll be featuring it on the podcast sometime soon. Anyway, let's get going. Let's talk about the news. Not a ton in the news this week. No, that's not the first news. I got the slides backwards. There we go. The first thing up in the news is some sad news. Al Leonardi has died. Not a huge output of games, but he designed Ace of Aces, and Bounty Hunter. If anybody's ever played that, uses the same Ace of Aces system, which is great. And Lost Worlds, which I've never played, but I guess there's a whole series of those books. Anyway, it's a real shame that he's died because, it's a shame, period. But there's a Kickstarter that's just about coming to fruition of a brand new deluxe version of Ace of Aces that's being redone. This time the books are in full color. It looks like it's going to be a real deluxe sort of version. So I feel bad about that. That he didn't live to see that. That would have been kind of sweet for him, I'm sure. Anyway, that's that's the way we go. We'll start off on a sad note and work our way up from there. The Armchair Dragoons have just announced the dates for this year's Fall Assembly. That's their live convention in Cary, North Carolina. So if you're out on the East Coast or the Southern states, that's going to be October 10th to 12th this year. So check out our buddies Brent and the gang from the Armchair Dragoons. I've participated in their online conventions a few times and always had a good time. But yeah, well, North Carolina's a long way away from me. I don't know that I'll be getting out there anytime soon. And then finally, my only other piece of news is San Diego HISCON has opened nominations for their 2 awards. They have the Summit Award and then the Bobby Nunez Memorial Award. The Summit Award, I think it's for innovation. I actually can't remember what. Just go to the website; you'll be able to see what the qualifications are. And then the Bobby Nunez Award, I think, is for webinar articles, podcasters, YouTubers, I think it's that sort of stuff. People who do this sort of stuff like we're doing tonight. Anyway, there's links in the show notes. So if you want to nominate somebody for the Summit Award, have a go. New games. No, I don't have a ton on that docket tonight either. This one's not actually new. This is a Mark McLaughlin game, and apparently it used to be on the P500 over at GMT, but wasn't going anywhere. They agreed to part ways, and Legion picked it up right away, and it's on the P300 at Legion. So if you're interested in a Hannibal game from Mark McLaughlin, who is pretty well known, it's got to be the same Mark McLaughlin that's done all the great Napoleonic games, but something different from him. Anyway, there's that. This is Battalion S3. This is a new magazine from MMP. It's going to be dedicated to the Battalion Combat Series, the BCS series. And I don't know if all issues will do it, but this first issue at least includes a small BCS game. It's kind of interesting. It seems like Multiman Publishing is moving towards having a separate magazine for many of their main series. Like there's the skirmisher for GCACW. I think there's a magazine for OCS as well, and now there's this for BCS. I think this is kind of a cool idea because I know I wasn't buying their what's it called, special ops or whatever. I'm not sure. Anyway, I wasn't buying their main magazine just because it covered so many things that I didn't own. I was always interested in the SL scenarios, but I was going to shell out $40 for a magazine just to get a couple of scenarios. Oh, well, that's interesting, Jonathan. I know a lot of people love Hitler's Reich. That's a game that I bounced right off of. I played it a few times and sold it on within about a month of owning it. So, yeah, I sold it before the newly they redid the rule book for that game because the rule book was a bit of a mess. The rule book didn't stump me. I managed to play it just fine. I just didn't really like it. It felt more. I got nothing against Euros, but it felt like one of those games where it was just like a game with a World War II theme slapped on top of it. Anyway, so that was Hitler's Reich for me. So maybe Hannibal's Revenge won't be for me either. Thanks for the heads up. In terms of new games for me, I just got 3, which is good. I've been managing to keeping my purchasing in check a little bit, and haven't been hit by a big deluge of P500s or anything like that recently either. Well, that's probably because GMT is slowing down. But anyway, the mailbox has been empty, which is great. Anyway, I got three. There was 3 new games released from 3 Crown games out of Sweden, and I pre-ordered them all. The first one here is Allenby's Gamble. This looks interesting. This is on the 3rd Battle of Gaza in 1917, so a World War I game in the desert. This is obviously a topic that doesn't get gamed all that much, and I'm interested to see what the guys at 3 Crown do with it. I've played a couple of their games. If you look on the Pushing Cardboard website, or even here on YouTube, I did a playthrough of a couple of turns of one of them. So if you want to see what their games, I don't know if this is a World War I game. I don't know if it's going to use the exact same system as they've got a whole like 9 or 10 games out on their World War II system, including these next two that I also got at the same time. This is Desert Duel. The one that I did the playthrough on was Dance of War, which is a Western Desert game as well. This is an interesting one because it's a little dual pack, a little twofer. It's got the battle axe and then the Battle of Matruth. So two maps, two completely separate engagements. I think one is just 6 turns and the other one is 9 or 10 turns. So not a bad way if you're interested in getting into this system from Three Crown Games. This wouldn't be a bad one to pick up. You'll be able to get into it quite quickly. And then the last one was Stalin's Lost Chance. I did an unboxing video that I haven't posted yet, and I kept calling it Stalin's Last Chance. So I'm a little bit red in the face over that one. Anyway, this is same system. It's their same chip pull system. This one is on the initial Soviet invasion of a war with Finland. So this is Finland 1939, Karelia, Lake Ladoga. I can never remember which way to say that. Anyway, Soviets Finns 1939, and yeah, that's it. Kind of I always feel good when I have a week or a month when I only have 2 or 3 games come in. Okay, so that's it for news. Not a ton to talk about this week. I guess we'll zip on and get to the naval games. So I wasn't crazy about naval games as a kid, the same way I was about air games or tank games, especially. But then once I got a copy of Wooden Ships and Iron Men, then I really got into it. Then I started to see what it was all about. But still, like I have over 2 dozen naval games, and that's not counting like big things like Empire of the Sun that are more grand strategic that count everything. Just dedicated naval games. I have quite a few. I'd have to say that my percentage of games played in this genre is lower than what my average percentage of my collection is. And I was thinking about that, and I think it's probably because one of the things about naval games is there's always, not always, but a big part of them is often either hidden movement or hidden placement and some kind of a search mechanic, dummy units, screens, whatever. So they just don't tend to be the best games for soloing. So I got a ton of games in my collection that I've played opposed, of course, but I've got another chunk that I feel like I've played. I've played the full campaign or whatever, but just solo. But with these naval games, yeah, that's just you try it and then you just go, well, I know exactly where that ship is. There's no way I can forget between now and then. So anyway, I guess that's why tonight we're going to be talking about all these games, and there's going to be a lot of them where I say, yep, I've opened this up, I've pushed it around a bit, but I really haven't played it. Anyway, we're going to go through a bunch of these games. Chime in with your thoughts on them. I didn't put them in any particular order, or they're just all over the place. I just kind of spewed out a list of what I've got, and so away we'll go. So let's start. We'll start with this. Second Fleet. This is not just a naval game, but primarily a naval game. This is part of the series from put out by Victory Games back in the 80s. Walkowski was the designer of the original one. This one, I've only played a couple of scenarios here, got my feet wet, but I got to say, there's something about this series that kind kind of makes you want to play them all. Yeah. Well, that's, Brendan, I have to say, I'm not a solo player, but that's not exactly right. I'm not a player of dedicated solo games. I love playing two-player games solo. So I don't think I'm alone like that. I think there's a lot of players who play two-player games solo. But yeah, it's just dedicated solo games that I don't play all that much. Anyway, Second Fleet, haven't played it too much, but what I have played, I liked. It's for 1981 or whatever. It's got a good looking map with plenty of the charts and display in unused spots on the map. I always like that if they as much stuff as you can get onto the map board or around the map board as possible is always great. And the counters, two color and three color. You can see there there's yellow, green, and black on those upper colors. The ones in the top left there. They're okay looking counters, but tiny typeface. That's yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely get to that one too. And especially flying colors, we'll get to it later. But that's even better to play solo than what I think of its predecessor, Wooden Ships of Iron Men, which of course had hidden written orders, written movement, which is kind of like hidden movement in a way. Flying colors, we'll definitely get to that. Anyway, Second Fleet is the only one of these I've got. I hope to get some opposed plays in so that I can determine if it really is for me, in which case I know I'll end up spending some money at Noble Knight on some of the other games in the series. This is Iron Bottom Sound 3 from the recently deceased Jack Green. If you know Jack Green's work, his name is going to come up 2 or 3 times tonight, I'm sure. He dedicated his designing career to naval games for sure. He was a naval game guy. And check out that cover, right? That's I think this was originally a Hobby Japan game, maybe, but that's a Roger McGowan cover, and that's one of his best covers. It's I just think it's gorgeous. The map board here, just big and blue. Those that's not actually the map. Those are overlays that go on parts of the map for pieces that for scenarios that have islands or supposed to be close to shore or whatever. It's a pretty detailed game. Get back here. A fairly detailed game. It's ship-to-ship combat. It's got scenarios from 1942 to 1943 in the Pacific, but there's also a German-British one that takes place in the Channel, and even some hypothetical, 1 or 2 hypothetical ones. Japan versus U.S. like 1925, 1928, something like that. So it's kind of cool. I don't think I have any pictures of the counters here, but they're nice looking counters too. That's too bad, Jonathan. I didn't realize that he had a Jutland game. That's too bad. Yeah, I'm kind of a fan of anything Jack Green does. The more I get into it, the more I like it. Anyway, this one I've only it's another one where I've only kind of broken it out, set up a scenario and pushed it around and tried to kind of grok the mechanics a bit, but that's about it. Now this one, Breaking the Chains, South China, War in the South China Sea. This is kind of funny in a way. This is not my thing. This is a modern combat, so I got this as part of a box lot. I'll probably sell it on. I just haven't yet. But it's funny because not funny. interesting. It came out in 2014, and the it's a hypothetical clash set in what was then the near future, 2021. So it's set in the future that's already the past. Anyway, it's on my trade pile. Not really my thing. I, I think I think it's probably not my thing because I just don't know enough about modern hardware. Right? It's like I don't know. Yeah, my knowledge base only goes so far. But it's got a nice looking map. The counters they don't look great here when they're put side by side like this, but when they're spread out and on the map, they're actually more readable. When they're side by side, they all sort of blend together. But the numbers are big enough. I don't know. They're okay. Um, not my not my thing. What's interesting about the game, though, that makes me go like, I don't know, maybe I should try it before I send it along, is uh, there's no hidden movement here. Also, there's no search. Instead of like a roll to search and see if you find someone, you roll to evade. So I don't know. That's an interesting take on how to do it. Apparently, turns are a scale is 70 nautical miles. So it's not close tactical stuff. Anyway, I don't know. Modern, not my thing, but I have been playing a bit of that modern one from VUCA. So who knows? We'll see. Maybe I'll have an epiphany and then it'll become my jam. Here's a game that made a big splash a couple years ago when it came out, and this is Jerry White. This is chasing convoys in the Atlantic, 39 to 42. This, if you haven't played it, Jerry came up with a really innovative solution to the hidden movement problem. You, neither player actually knows where the ships are once they leave port. You see these long lines. You can see like a line of white colored pieces going across the top, some brown ones across the bottom. Those indicate trajectories, and once the convoy or the task force is out at sea, neither one of you knows exactly where on that trajectory it is. The player who's trying to escape is going to be trying to get to the end of that trajectory before they get caught, whereas the person who's trying to chase them down has got several. Your search mechanisms, basically what they do is they shorten those trajectories so that there's fewer and fewer spots that the prey might actually be. Really cool. Also, it's well, I'll show you the counters too. Kind of, really good looking counters. They don't actually go on the map. They go. You have a board beside you that this has all your task force on it. The only time these counters ever actually come onto the game, there's a battle board if you end up doing ship to ship combat. I have no picture of this, but the other thing I have to say is just a great rule book. It's I think it set a new standard for rule book writing. It is programmed instruction, but you don't have to do each one. Like I could just read some of those programmed instruction scenarios. I just read the scenario and went, yeah, I got it. I'll move on to the next one. It's just a way of presenting the rules. So that's one book, the scenario book that presents the rules like that. And then the scenario book is just so easy to read. And also tons of things in the game. If there's something like on a side chart or something that you have to look up, it'll have a rule number in a circle right there, and it just tells you what page to look at in the rule book right from there. Like you're never flipping through indexes or glossaries or things like that. It's I totally recommend this game. The Pacific volume is coming soon. I've seen it demoed down at GMT West, and people thought, well, this was great for the North Atlantic, but I don't think is going to work for carrier battles, but Jerry's got it working for carrier battles. I saw him and somebody else play out the attack on Pearl Harbor scenario, and things work just like it ought to. Actually, the excuse me, the trajectories worked a treat for that. So I'm that's on P500 yet or not, but that's an instant buy for me. And if you want to hear more about it or more from Jerry White on the Pushing Cardboard podcast, I did an interview with him. I don't know, a year and a half ago. One of the most fun interviews I've ever done. Just like a lovely man to talk to. It's obviously just such a gamer. Like, we talked about his games and his design, yes, but we just talked about games a ton because he just was so interested in games. So, yeah, I'd look if you haven't heard it before. Oh, okay. That's fantastic. I love Mark Rodriguez. For anybody who doesn't know, he's the guy who did Bayonets and Tomahawks, which is one of my favorite games from the last 5 years. That's great. That's fantastic. Good to know. Thanks, Jonathan. Next up, so we went from maybe the easiest rulebook around to one of the more daunting ones, Pacific War. Originally came out. This was a victory game when Mark Herman was running Victory Games as a sort of a subsidiary of Avalon Hill. Came out there, and then a big new redone version came out at GMT last year or the year before. Not sure. I have it. I haven't even punched the counters on this. Every time I look at it, it just it just feels so daunting. I know, people tell me it's not as daunting as it looks, and that's probably right. Most games that are daunting, it just turns out that there's a lot there, but there's actually a good solid sequence of play that if you just follow it, you're going to be in good hands. But I don't know, something about this one. It's just it's scared me. There it is out of the box. I'm not going to go through everything, but you're getting a lot. You're getting a lot of gain for your money, and there's multiple ways to play this. There's solo engagement scenarios, and there's just small battle scenarios, campaign scenarios that are more like operational, and then there's a big strategic scenario that Herman put in the box. He doesn't. I think he said many times that he didn't really expect anyone to ever play it. The strategic scenario is basically the whole Pacific campaign, which would take hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, I'm sure. For him, the campaign scenarios are the things he expects people to play and to enjoy. But he just felt like if he didn't put the big strategic scenario, the big giant campaign game, there'd be howls of people who expected it when they got it. So anyway, it's there. I'm never going to play that, but I do want to learn this. Yeah, well, good to know I'm not alone, Jonathan. Yeah, I bet we're not the only two people watching or talking here tonight that haven't punched or haven't played their copy. It's something that there's something so wargamey about it, right? That cover looks great. The whole it looks like it's something I should love. So I bought it, and I just have to stick my courage to the sticking place and give it a go. Here's from Harold Buchanan, totally opposite end of the complexity scale. Has anybody played this? This is Harold. I think he stated that he wanted to design a game that could be taught in 10 or 15 minutes and have players up and playing in 10 or 15 minutes. And he definitely succeeded. It's a small game. You can see there's only like 7 or 3 is there for sort of area movement, I guess. It's hard. For me, this one was just a bit light. I know it's taken some flack for being a little too Euro-ish, as in that thing of a game with a theme slapped on top rather than the mechanics arising from the theme. I'm not sure if I buy that. I haven't played it enough to lay that charge against it. But it was just for me, it was just a bit too light. Uh, it's not that I totally have anything. I like filler games and things like that. It's just I don't know. Sometimes things just don't grab you, right? That's the way it goes. Um, this next one though, this one grabbed me. Uh, this is Task Force from VUCA. This was a remake of a 1982 Japanese game by Jinichiro Suzuki. Gorgeous components, as always, from VUCA. There's several scenarios in this game. Each scenario has its own map. Each of those maps is mounted, except maybe one. I think, like the very initial, there's a training scenario right at the beginning. That's like the attack on Henderson Field or something like that. It's a paper map, but everything else is a mounted map. The play aids are mounted, like the same thickness as the maps. Pre-mounted counter that just pop out. There's the counters. These are blown up a bit too much, so it makes them sort of. You're going to think of it as pixelating. It's not actually pixelating. It's like the Moray effect. But anyway, it's the color is more true than what looks when it's blown up like that. They're lovely looking counters. All the info you need is right there on them. It's not a hard game. Pretty easy to work. There's dummy counters for the hidden placement. So that's the search style. You have to search. You're going to turn up some dummy counters and not find things that you're going to either be lucky and find what you're looking for or find nothing, right? And it's not just like you don't always reveal. Sometimes you search and you get wrong information as well. So it's like that. The easy combat, there's air-to-air chart, an anti-air chart, an air-to-ship chart, and then ship-to-ship. So all really straightforward stuff. You can get going and playing this game in half an hour probably. I would be surprised if it took you longer. I did a big write-up of this game on the website. There's I think I posted like a nice review of it with tons of photos and stuff. So if you haven't got this one and you're interested, it's there's lots on my website to have a look at it. Yeah, that cover is great. I totally agree. I'm really happy with the VUCA has brought a fair number of games from Japan forward, which is great. Them and Revolution, who we'll get to a few of theirs as well, because they brought some games, some naval games over from previously published in Japan. Here's one. It's not okay. So this is 1812, the War on the Great Lakes Frontier. So it's primarily a naval game, but it's not 100% a naval game. There are land units. But it's it's kind of an interesting look at the War of 1812 because I'll have a picture of the here I've got a picture of some of the map. So you see, you have all the hexes on the lakes, and then there's just a lot of hexes around the lakes because that's where all the action was. There's like a few slivers sticking down to Cincinnati to Pittsburgh and stuff, but most of the action is all along those on the lakes or along the shores of the lakes. It's that's just one map. It's actually a big play the full thing. It's a big 2-mapper end to end. Yeah, it is a cool map. Even cooler when you get out the full thing. It's it's got a nice naval battle board. I think I got that here. Yeah, so you can see once you have the once you're going to have a combat on the lake, you line up your ships. The other guy lines up his ships, and it's a fairly straightforward um, uh, combat system for this. Um, I should also, well, since we're talking about 1812 games, I should also mention Amateurs to Arms. If anybody's ever played that, it's more fully the War of 1812. You get the more of the full map, but a very similar naval combat system in that game, and it's got this great thing where you have a hidden track for what you're building in terms of your naval builds. So you really don't know if your opponent is building a couple of big ships or many smaller ships. You have no idea. So I didn't put amateurs to arms in the list tonight, but I just thought I'd mention it while we were talking about the War of 1812. I'm a bit of a maybe it's the Canadian part of me, but I'm kind of a War of 1812 fan. I enjoy War of 1812 games. I don't think I don't think I have enough of them to do it as a whole topic one night or anything like that. But if I wish I could, I wish there was enough games to do that. Anyway, this is a cool game. Check it out. It came out. It's from Compass War on the Great Lakes Frontier. It kind of came and went. It didn't get a lot of buzz when it came out, which I enjoyed it. I was hoping people would like it more. Okay, now we go back in time a bit. This is I got this one. I bought from a local fella like a box lot of old strategy and tactics magazines. So I don't know this game. It looks a lot like SBI's answer to Wooden Ships and Iron Men. I mean, the cover looks a bit like that too, but it like a bit like that. It's Joe Balkowski though, so that makes me go, okay, I gotta check it out. 1981, so a little newer than Wooden Ships and Iron Men. Counters, pretty unexciting, really, even by 1981 standards. But you know, they're not the end of the world. At least you get the little silhouettes of the ships there. I guess that's all right. I'm not going to show you. The map is just a big blue ocean, like so many of these games are. Here's another one from that box lot. This one I haven't even opened and had a look at. This is a Battle of Tsushima. This is Russo. That's funny. I wish I could say the same. Not the same for me. Anyway, this is Russo-Japanese War, 1905. This is another Jack Green design. So, you know, should be well researched, should be a good game. Like we say, Jack knew his stuff when it came to naval games. But one thing that I put this one on the list, not just because I mean, there's a few that I just don't know anything about that I didn't put on the list, but I did put this one on the list because I also thought it was interesting. You see that slash across the bottom, Dunnigan is back. This is, you know, when SBI went tits up and had the company bought out from under them, basically, you know, they were loaned some money, and then the people pulled the loan so that they got the company. Anyway, you know, Dunnigan said sayonara for a while, and then came back for a little while before the whole thing folded in the end. Anyway, obviously it was big news, big enough to put Dunnigan is back on the cover of that magazine. Oh, that's interesting, Stephen. So that's going back one, the Joe Balkowski game, right? The sort of Age of Fighting Sail one, the kind of Wooden Ships and Iron Men style one. I think that happened a fair few times with S&T games that there was mention or promise of a full box version that, or even a flat pack version that never materialized. I'm sure everybody has a favorite that never saw the light of day. Anyway, that's Tsushima. Oh, there's Tsushima's counters. This is this is 1989. Counters should be a little better. These are no better. They're probably worse than the ones we saw in Fighting Steel, really. But anyway, at this point, S&T was this was S&T was owned by 3W, I think. So you know, the quality changes from company to company. Um, Enough about that. Here's one that's a bunch of people's favorite. And I'm sure everybody knew we were going to talk about this tonight. This is Mike Nagel. Mike Nagel, I just commented on him a couple of weeks ago because he started publishing some new games again, and he's publishing them through Blue Panther. But anyway, I've always known his name for two things: Mike Nagel, Flying Colors, because that's his baby, and it's a well-loved system with plenty of expansions. But he also had this great. He was a fanatic for Upfront and had published a third-party magazine called Relative Range, and published a ton of scenarios and articles and whatnot on Upfront. So anyway, as you can see, between Upfront and Flying Colors, Mike Nagel is obviously strictly a tactical guy. Flying Colors, as I mentioned earlier, it's got a bit of a look, same sort of look like Wooden Ships and Iron Men in some ways, much more up-to-date, beautiful counters, but no written orders here. So I'm sure that makes it solo a lot better than the Wooden Ships and Iron Mounted did. I think I have a closer pick of the counters. Oh, well, I sort of, yeah. The ship counters, you'll notice they're two hexes long, like the Wooden Ships and Iron Men ones. But yeah, it looks like this game can get a bit marker heavy, which is always a bit of a drag. I'm not a big guy, but I don't often talk about immersion, but I think stacks of markers must reduce immersion for people who are worried about that sort of thing. For me, I don't like stacks of markers just because I find the whole thing fiddly. The more counters you have out there, the more counters you have to knock over and screw things up. Yeah. Yeah, they do look like GCACW counters. But maybe this game runs beautifully on Vassal. I haven't tried it on Vassal. So who knows? Here's one I bet I don't know. Maybe some of you have played. This is not. I've never seen this on the table. This is Atlantic Storm. This is a Ben and Don Wood. This goes back to Avalon Hill. There was this and another one. This is what they call the deluxe version. It was republished by the Lock and Load, so a newer version. As I recall, the old Avalon Hill one, they came in like a sort of a swamp box. It's a card game, right? It's a card game for 1 to 6 players. It's well, here there's really nice cards in this new version by Lock and Load, but I don't want to get into semantics, but for me, this isn't really a war game. This is you don't play one side or the other. You switch as you go. Sometimes you're going to be playing Axis cards. Sometimes you're going to play Allied cards. It's supposed to be a pretty fun party game if you got a few people around the table, but to me, it doesn't feel like it has much to do with actual naval war. So I don't have a. Yeah, I think we're on exactly the same page. it's one of those games where I think at the end of a long day, they say, "Hey, everybody, come play Slapshot, come play uh, Atlantic Storm or Pacific Typhoon." And it's like, I don't know, if it doesn't grab you, at least like there's got to be a little bit of simulation there. I'm not hung up on realism or things like that, but man, I need a little something, and this game doesn't have it. So, but I have a copy, so I throw it in there. I also have a copy of its sister game. I think this is the sister game. It's been night. I think it's the same sort of thing. Instead at in the Pacific instead of the Atlantic, and I think this one also originally came out from Avalon Hill, but I can't say that for sure. Anyway, totally same thing as Atlantic Storm, as far as I know, 1 to 6 players. But if you look at the cards for this one, there's a bunch more. There's a lot of more air cards, of course, because you got the Pacific obviously features carrier battles. So yeah, it's going to be slightly different, but it's the same thing. You're not on sides. You've got cards for both sides. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that game. Yeah, same sort of thing. I remember those cards. They were when we saw the photo of the lovely cards that Lock and Loads got for the new version. When I think of those Naval War cards from Avalon Hill, as I remember them, they were just like black and white silhouettes, basically, or black and white line drawings. So simple compared to what's going on now. Yeah. Well, there you go. So it's a party game that did work for Stupid Joe. See, obviously, it's a fine line between what kind of a late convention party game is going to keep him awake and which one's going to encourage him to drink beer. Well, enough party games. Here's another real naval game. The good old Bismarck. This is the second edition. The original game was by Charles Roberts and Tom Shaw. Charles Roberts, of course, the owner, the creator of Avalon Hill, and Tom Shaw, who was the very first employee of Avalon Hill, and he designed a few games. Tom Shaw might have designed games like football strategy and baseball strategy, where the baseball strategy sucked, but football strategy was a bit of a classic. Anyway, they designed the original one. This is the redone version that came out in 1978, the second edition by our buddy Jack Green again. Fairly different from the original. But they both use that sort of classic thing where there's I can see where my stuff is. We have a screen between us. You see where your stuff is. You call it a coordinate to search. I think the original game that came out in the 60s was on a square grid. And by the time Jack Green redid this in 78, he changed it to a hex grid. This game has had a long life. It was one of those ones that stayed in print for a long time for Avalon Hill. And interestingly enough, it's one that I guess that's the counters of the 1978 version. Those are pretty nice for 1978. They're just 3-color, but they're still good, decent detail. They're not just like those little blobs we saw on that game from 3W recently. Anyway, what I wanted to say was Jack got yet another shot at the game. VUCA redid the whole thing a couple of years ago. 2022, this came out. Another gorgeous cover. Man, VUCA knocks it out of the park with their covers, right? This was co-designed. Jack Green, with the help of Patrick Gebhardt, who is VUCA's, he's founder, owner, the head poobah of VUCA. And I could have this backwards. I think maybe Jack kind of redid and worked on the movement and search system, and Patrick did the combat system, or vice versa, something like that. I didn't hear that from Patrick, but it's a beautiful package. If you can, skip right on to the third version. Oh, that's lovely. Uh, I'm on kind of an auto buy with VUCA as it is. Every once in a while, they'll send me a review copy, which I really appreciate, because they own a large chunk of my wallet as it is. So World War One, not World War Two, for this new VUCA game. Uh, uh, Really published in S&T. So that'll. Joe, I don't have a tab open, but does anybody know who the original designer of the Far Seas was? We'll put that in the chat and we'll have a look at it. In the meantime, we'll keep looking at the Chase of the Bismarck here by Jack Green and Patrick Gebhardt. You can no, this is somebody's already photo, but there weren't a ton of great photos, and I wasn't going to get out the camera because I'm in this giant Renault. But you can see what you can see here is VUCA's beautiful pre-rounded punched counters. Those are player aids. Again, that full VUCA thing, they're fully mounted player aids. They're not just on paper. Full deluxe package for sure. With VUCA, you just you never complain about the quality, right? It's about the component quality. Anyway, that's this is a game that I'm going to be all around with me to conventions to try and get people to play. I just think it looks great. I want to play it some more, and it's one of those games I can't play solo, right? So we talked. I said that there was going to be some games from Revolution that were reprints of Japanese games, and this is the first one. We'll actually we'll do both of them back to back here. This is Fury at Midway by Sushi Nakaguru. It's kind of a lighter treatment of the Midway battle, but the Revolution guys, they sort of, it was like they redid the game a little bit. That's what I'm going to say. It's like kind of being like an after the fact developer. I'm sure with the designers' help, but what they did was they made it separate maps. Where the original game was one map for both people, but this one, that's the American map. You see the battle area in the sea to the left, and the American carriers to the right, and then the Japanese. Theirs is the opposite. You've got the sea to the right, and then their carriers down the left-hand side. It's really it's not a difficult system. It's not the most in-depth take on this, but totally playable, totally fun. These are, I don't even think Revolution puts out box versions of these. These are in Ziplocs only, so they're totally affordable. Like I'm not going to say a price because I don't want to say some cheap price that that's wrong. But it's nice looking games. Oh, here we go. Thanks, guys. Alternate names: designer Martin Anderson. And Roger McGowan, of course, gets art. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Gilbert's great. I love his videos. He's over on the other side of Canada, but I love his stuff for sure. Well, that's interesting. Rob says Compass also has a World War One game in World War One naval game in their pipeline as well. That's I don't know. Maybe we're gonna see a little flourishing of World War One naval games. That would be great. Well, I look forward to seeing this far far seas. Yeah, Joe, did you? We're gonna. Well, let's talk about the next one. I think I got that up next. So, uh, Pacific Fury. Yeah, Pacific Fury, not Fury in the Pacific, but Pacific Fury. Um, Again, same designer. This time it's Guadalcanal. Uh, you know, pretty simple map. You've got just yeah. Well, I recommend everybody go check out Joe's video on Pacific Fury. It, you just got like about five different areas here, so there's not a lot of maneuver, but as I understand it, this game is a bit of a cat and mouse about how much you're going to put where, sort of to kind of boil it down. Um, it's uh, so it's definitely one of those games that you're not going to solo. It's but it's a pretty game. Beautiful, beautiful colors. Not much in terms of ratings on them. You see ratings 1 to 4, and then there's little anchors there, 1 to 2 anchors, or what have you. It's but a good looking game. I look I'd play it for sure, and these play fairly quickly for sure. Oh, wow. Well, that's interesting to know, Stephen. Uh, it'll be interesting to see how that game goes. Gilbert's most recent game was a game on the American Revolution that I was really looking forward to. I bought it. I can't remember what it was called, but it was interesting in that it was looking at the American Revolution, but through the eyes of the British in a way. It doesn't change. I don't know. That's sort of the way it was pitched, but there was a lot of problems with the rule book, and a lot of war in America. That's it. A lot of problems with the rule book, and a lot of questions, and Gilbert and his developer. Um, uh, I think they were a bit surprised at how much questions came up, and they were um, well, a bit thin-skinned, maybe. I hope he has better luck with Kaiser's High Seas fleet, and I hope that War in America gets straightened out, because I saw the brouhaha about the problems with the rules, and I went, I'm just going to put this on the shelf for a year or so, and wait till the rules get straightened out, and then I'll play it then. So maybe it's good to go. Maybe I'm maybe I've waited long enough. Who knows? Anyway, that's Pacific Fury. Good looking game. Like I said, check out Joe's video. All right. Well, now we're going to talk about a kind of a granddaddy. Here we go. Uh, Wooden Ships and Iron Men. This is, like, to my mind, one of the granddaddies of naval games for sure. This originally published by Battle Line, and then picked up and sold by the thousands and thousands by Avalon Hill. This is designed by S. Craig Taylor. Plotted movement. That's no surprise for Craig Taylor. Craig Taylor is the same guy who did games like Air Force and Dauntless for Badline, and then Avalon Hill as well. I think actually he's got another game we'll talk about tonight. We'll get to it, but Craig Taylor, it was a designer who was really into detail and sort of fine detail and ka-chunk, 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 like one thing after another. He's one of those designers, sort of, you either love it or you hate it. For some people, when it gets so fine tuned like that, it can kind of take the air out of it. I found those Air Force games, I never really got off the ground for me. But on the other hand, Wooden Ships and Men, I just loved. It was fantastic. Yeah, I didn't mind the plotting at all. I didn't. And the other thing, well, I think I have a picture of it here, but we'll take a look. Here's pretty unexciting, pretty unexciting um, map board, of course. But the extra long counters, the cool silhouettes of the ships, totally nice. Um, Yeah, Badline did have some great games, Rob, and I'm grateful for Avalon Hill for boosting them along and getting them under my nose for sure. The other cool thing about, yeah, we'll talk. That's Flat Top's the other one. We'll talk about that later. But that's the other Craig Taylor game for sure. Um, Wooden Ships and Iron Men had these it's I think it says a hit record and log sheet. So this is where you would log your movement, but it's also, although you see those little boxes, there'd be some for the sails, some for the hull. There'd be depending on your ship, you got to cross a bunch of them out before you even start. Like not all ships get all the full amount of damage possible. But this is where you write everything down. You cross off your damage, plot your moves, keep track of the wind, all that sort of stuff. This was a great, this is a great game. I don't. We'll talk about. There we go. We'll talk about. I don't know if I think I have submarine, but I'm not sure if we're going to have it on the list tonight. Yeah, Michael, Fire in the Sky. I didn't put it on the list tonight. The same reason I didn't put Empire of the Sun and a few others like that kind of have air, sea, and land all together. It's I thought I got to put the dividing line somewhere. I can't put every game I know in there. But yeah, I definitely have a few more myself that I could have added in here. The other great thing about Wooden Ships and Iron Men was it was like there would be new scenarios printed in the general magazine. I think I even remember them. They used to put counter inserts in that magazine, if you remember, and so there'd be new scenarios with like a half a dozen new counters, and it was in this in the same. It felt like a kind of a new thing. Like that all started to happen with Panzer Blitz and Panzer Leader and Squad Leader. All this idea of scenarios where you could keep making new scenarios for games that were already out there. And this game came before all of them. This is 1972, and it just came as is. And then those other games came a little later, and people had the good idea to make new scenarios for Wooden Ships and Iron Men. Yeah, exactly. The Dutch Navy. Let's have some Dutch ships instead of just in the main box. It's just French, British, and American, right? So, yeah. I don't know. I'm lingering on this game a little bit because it's sort of the grandfather of them all in some ways, and I have too many like fond memories of it. I should also mention there is an online right, Spanish. That's right. Yes. I give you your Spanish short shrift there. Sorry, Joe. There's an online version of Wooden Ships and Iron Men, I think, out there now, and it's not like on. It's on its own little site. I can't remember the name of it. It's not on Rally the Troops or Yucata or Board Game Arena. But I'm pretty sure. I think so. So somebody will know it, and they'll paste it in. They'll post it in the comments here. But I haven't tried it, but I think I bookmarked it because I come across it one day and went, oh my god, I have to give that a go. Anyway, enough about that. Here's an interesting one. This is one I haven't played. I picked it up because on recommendation of somebody. If you're hanging around BGG a bunch, you probably run into Judd Vance, and he's just an absolute fanatic for this game. He loves it. He says it's got terrible rules, but he loved the game so much that he just rewrote the rule book. He said it's the rules aren't a problem, which is the rules writing that are a problem. It's a game with cards in the game. It's not a card-driven game. There wasn't a map, but there's a mass. There's the counters. Yeah, I don't know if I. Well, we'll see. There's the counters. They're kind of good-looking counters. Although those bottom ones, I find a little bit hard to see what the numbers are against that pale purple. I thought I had a map here. No, I guess I don't. Yeah. So yeah. If we go, there's a little too much. The American ones are much easier to read than these. I don't know, the middle line there, I can read them, but the bottom line is just a little bit of bad graphic design there. But I'm going to check it out because I don't know, when somebody loves a game so much that they completely rewrite the rule book, makes me think it's got to be worth having a look. Does anybody know this one? I got this used. Haven't played it yet. This is it's called Divine Wind. It's by Steven Newberg, fellow Canadian, who had a big a lot of games, Simulations Canada. I don't know if he's still designing, but he was very prolific in the 80s for sure. And again, another gorgeous cover by Roger McGowan. Roger did a bunch of covers for SimCan, which was lovely. Rob, those guys, that company now is called Bellica 3G, I think, is who owns the rights to Coral Sea, and the designer might even be involved with Bellica 3G meaning third generation, I think. And they do have a few games on their website. They're interesting. Actually, Stupid Joe probably knows more about Bellica 3G than I do, because these guys, because I think Joe gets over to Spain sometimes. These guys, they publish a few games on their own website, the Bellica 3G website, but they also distribute games through some other European publishers as well. I think maybe De Beer or something like that might send some of their stuff, publish some of their stuff. Yeah, I totally hear you. It's funny you should. Oh, well, that's nice to know. Oh, that's great. Good to know he still designs. I'll have to look him up. Is that right? Well, there you go. Bellica. I think I've talked to those guys a little bit. Yeah, they're still going. They're putting out press releases and talking about what they're doing. I want to get back to this comment. That's that was the knock about this game. Well, kind of a nice map, all that. So strategic games, month-long turns, all that, Divine Wind. But there's the counters, and I don't know if you can see them. Maybe I should have blown it up. The counters, the ships don't have names. They'll just say CD, CA, DD, BB, whatever. I like to have the named. I like the named ships too, at least for above cruisers and above, right? So yeah, capital ships. I like it as well, and I think it puts a lot of naval gamers' noses get out of joint if the capital ships aren't named. I don't think Divine Wind is the only game that didn't individually name the ships, but it might be the only one that does it on my list. I, we'll, I don't know if we're going to talk about that one tonight or not. I'll see. But if that's interesting to know that it's going to be republished by Compass Tokyo Express, because unless I'm confusing it with something else, I think Tokyo Express sells for on the secondary market for a decent price. Anyway, so much for Divine Wind. Let's jump forward like 40 years. Hunt by Matthias Kramer. This is the Kriegsmarine versus British convoys in the North Sea. This is a kind of a smaller game. It's like that's the board. The board's like 1 foot by 1 foot. Hey, good to see you, CC. Glad you could drop by. This Matthias Kramer, pretty interesting designer. He's got some really well-loved games. I think he's the guy that did Watergate. He's got some great games, and he knows how to pack a punch into a little game. This game, you look at it, you think it's small, but it's not going to be for you. You'd be surprised. Well, the convoys are on the board, but the Graf Spree, who is trying to sink them, it uses hidden moves. So there's a little screen there, and you just write down your moves from turn to turn to turn. You just say which hex the Graf Spree is in. So it takes you got to trust your opponent to. I mean, you get to check at the end, but you got to trust that they're going to be truthful or not screw it up as you go. It is fun, yeah. It's totally fun, and it's as you at the same time that the Graf Spree is trying to sink those convoys, the British is also trying to sink the Graf Spree, obviously. So, yeah, cool game. I'm always surprised when I love a small game. I think of myself as somebody who likes bigger games. I don't know, stupid of me, but I love it when I love a small game. So, yeah, little game. Back to Craig Taylor. And before I say anything about the game, this might be one of Roger McGowan's all-time best covers. This is, I mean, the thing I loved about Roger's art was there's a sense of emotion in it. There's a sense of movement and action in it, even in a 2D. It's not just a picture of a couple of carriers, right? It's like, you look at that guy's face, the determination, but also like almost I don't know, like a covering over fear. I don't know. Roger knocks it out of the park every time for myself. Yeah. It's now this game, flat top though. This is not for the faint of heart, right? This is a deep fiddly game for sure. Which that's the Craig Taylor thing, right? There's a map of the Pacific, South Pacific. It's there's not a lot you can do with maps. The counters. This is 1977, so that's. We'll get to it later. Of course, we're going to talk about Victory in the Pacific. Kind of similar looking counter. Kind of not great, not bad. But at least the names of the ships are on the counters there, right? Although you can see the reason the reason they were sometimes so they jam so much of the stuff into the center of the counter, because you can see the registration on those counters is not the best. They've slid a little bit left. Yeah, I think that is exactly true. I think flat top for a lot of people is like the best tactical game, but it takes in a lot of commitment, takes a lot of time. You have to be you've got to be dedicated to play flat top. Um, yeah, I don't know. Uh, it's sort of like I used to think I'd play it more, and now I go like, I don't know, am I going to play it or am I going to play Herman's Pacific 4? Right? It's I don't, this game very fiddly, very deep, but if you like that sort of thing, if you like Craig Taylor's detail and fiddliness, uh, I think some people would say this is Craig Taylor's like magnum opus. So yeah, check it out. It's although it's I don't think it's that cheap on the secondary market either. Um, not it's not horrible because there's a lot of copies printed, but it's still it costs more than probably cost. That's funny. All right, well, we'll go from this deeply fiddly and deep and immersive game to one that is uh, this this game. I think might have been Jerry uh, White, Jerry White's first published game, maybe. Not, don't hold me to that, but it's one of his early ones. This is here's a question Jonathan has. Does anyone know if every country builds their carriers with a conning tower on the starboard side? I don't know if there's if we've got any actual naval vets out there, maybe they'll be able to tell us. Anyway, Jerry's game. This Right, Fierce, and Terrible. This is a naval battle. The battle is called Sluys, Sluys, 1340. So we're talking late medieval period. But I picked this up just I don't know, a year and a half ago. Played it, covered it on the podcast. I totally had a gas with this game. That's the map. Pretty typical for a against the odds map. It's an estuary, and no action occurred. Like all the action is, yeah, that's right. You nail it. You nail it there, Joe. When you say it's like a land battle, but at sea. That's exactly it. Here's mid game. What happens is the ships get all grappled together, and you can see there some ships may have like some men at arms or some knights or some marines, and you try to grapple the other ship and jump onto it and you kill their knights or their men at arms and set the ship on fire or steal it and start running it for your own. It there's a little bit of like cannon fire, but very little. It's all about either ramming to try and cripple the ship, or ramming to grapple it and board it and fight it out. It's exactly as Joe says. It's like a land battle on the water, and it gets exactly like that. The ships, of course, start farther apart, and then two or three start to get together, but then there just gets to be like this just big knot of them in the middle. Totally interesting game as well. It's got it's one situation, but what Jerry did right off the bat is he included a bunch of variant scenarios for this main scenario, sort of what ifs, like what if the tide was at a different point, or what if the wind was different, or what if there's this thing where one side starts with their ships sort of chained together, which is like great defensively, but leaves them a little maneuver. So he has a scenario was like, let's start with them not chained together. It's that sort of thing. I mean, Jerry White, great designer, and for my money, he was great right from the get go from this very early design. Um, Speaking of against the odds, they are slowly winding their business down. If you're interested in their games, they have this great deal where you can get like 3 of their games for $100, or 2 of their big uh, deluxe games for $100. That's their usual deal, but they've got a great deal on as they're winding the company down for their back issues, where you can get 4 for $100. So if there's some issues of against the odds that you've always wanted to check out, I mean, $25 an issue is that's a pretty great deal. So yeah, yeah, long live magazine games indeed. I used to be a snob about them when I was young. I didn't like them at all, and now I just totally love them. I was crazy. We're crazy ideas when we're young. It happens. Anyway, I hope I've heard that I don't know if he's winding down the magazine as sort of a subscription thing, but maybe he'll still publish the occasional magazine. I don't know. I hope so, because I've really enjoyed all the article or all the issues that I've ever bought from them. So this does anybody know this game? So this game originally came out from Hobby Japan. Another gorgeous Roger McGowan cover. Roger did a ton of covers for Hobby Japan that most of us never saw back in the day, until he repurposed some of the art for American things later. But I say about this game because I just recently got this game and in a math trade, and I didn't read the fine print, and this is the Japanese version, which is what I have. I got the Japanese version. Now there's some English translations printed out and included, so I may be able to get my way through it, but I don't know. It's got a kind of a standard, a decent map for I don't know. I think this is early '80s. These are search maps, so separate maps. But so I think I can follow it pretty well so far. But then this next part is where I start to get into a little trouble when we have a look at the counters. Maybe I should have. I don't know how well you guys can read that. If you can see the numbers on the bottoms of the counters, but the names of the ships are Japanese kanji. So I don't know which ship is. I don't know what ship is what. Yeah, let's talk about that one later, because that one's not on my list, Rob. So I'm gonna kind of invite people to talk about anything that I don't bring up. But I'm interested in that one. That one had a great cover, if I remember correctly as well. Anyway, the Pacific Fleet game, I'd heard good things about it. I wanted to play it, but I don't know if like these. I don't know if these Japanese counters are going to be a giant impediment. Maybe maybe I can find. Maybe somebody's gone through and done the hard work of kind of translating the counters as well. Anyway. As a good night, Brendan. Thanks for dropping by. Always good to see you. This Pacific Fleet game, I don't know. I don't. This is the second time I've inadvertently did a math trade for a game in the wrong language. I'm terrible for not reading the fine print on these things. Well, I might if I didn't hate everything AI, but maybe that's just me. Maybe I'll have to do it. I'd rather learn kanji than use AI. That's my thing. Anyway, so much for Pacific Fleet. Let's talk about a game that I totally love, and probably many of you here love. Here's another one that we think of as granddaddies of the hobby. This is one of the very earliest I'm not. It's like a grand strategic game, but the land stuff is it's not abstracted, uh, but it's much more abstract than the naval part. Anyway, Victory in the Pacific. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, anybody says you want to play this, I'll play it at the drop of a hat. This is this is another game from 1977. That was a good year for games, for sure. Um, I think a lot of people probably this game was designed by Richard Hamlin, who is largely forgotten now, but he's the same guy who did Gunslinger, Magic Realm, Merchant of Venice, and Fortress Europa. He had some great games, and but left the hobby long ago. As far as I know, I do not. I don't think he's still going. Oh yeah, Michael, you got here a little late. We started off with Victor Games Fleet for sure. That was the very first one that we talked about. But yeah, yeah. Yes, I think there's lots of people like this. Victory in the Pacific still very big on the tournament. Conventions often have a Victory in the Pacific tournament. There's a victory like an ongoing Victory in the Pacific ladder. There's like this game is still very much alive. Um, there's the map. Those colors will turn off a lot of people. I don't know. I'm just kind of used to them. But of course, the thing is, with such a beloved game, there's a ton of homemade improvements. So here's somebody's newer map with less charming colors, right? The same thing with the counters. The original counters, I'm totally used to these great. Yeah, I don't even go so far as to call it ugly. I'm fine with it. But then I didn't mind the pink counters in Battle of the Bulge or whatever, whatever they were anyway. But these are so yeah, these I'm totally used to these counters. But there's if you want, you can download these and print your own. People have made. Yeah, you're trying to get me now for sure. It's anyway. It's the Victory in the Pacific. It's not a difficult game to learn by any means. But just one more photo. Here we are mid game, right? It's not hard to learn, but well loved, long lived. If you feel there's balance issues, there's I think in tournaments they often bid for sides, and that helps to balance it out for anybody who's feeling like it favors one side or the other. Yeah, like Rob says, he still plays it 2 or 3 times a year. I'm with that. I've never played War at Sea. It's funny because Victory and the Pacific was built on War at Sea. War at Sea is the Atlantic War, the same system. Something about the War at Sea, just that every time I looked at that map, it didn't seem like there was enough areas to me. So I didn't. I never bought it. One of those games that I sort of wish was hanging around in my collection that I could pull out and have a look at, but I don't miss it so much that I'm going to pay $50 for a used copy of it, the way I might for if I didn't own a copy of Victory in the Pacific. That's interesting though. The hold fast Pacific and hold fast Atlantic. That's interesting. I love that very first hold. Remember the first hold fast game was Hold Fast Russia. It was fantastic. And then they did a deluxe version where they extended it, and they totally ruined it. In that it seemed like it was going to be great, but they didn't change the you get so many more units each turn. Well, when you had those the extra year on, the Soviets should get way more units than they were getting before, but they didn't change anything. It was It was terrible. If you want to play Holdfast Russia, get the original version, not the second one. Anyway, that kind of put me off the Holdfast system a bit, and then there was another Holdfast game that came out that just got terrible reviews, and I got so turned off the Holdfast games that I never bought the naval ones. I'd only played the land ones. So maybe I need to check it out. Um, yeah, that's true. Yeah, in well, like any kind of strategic Pacific game, you've got to make hay as the Japanese early on, and then like hold on for dear life as you. Yes, yeah, Jane, we did. We talked about a ton of Jack Green's games. If you're interested in Jack, he's we covered 4 or 5 of his games here tonight, and definitely tipped our hat to Jack Green, who's in many ways king of the naval games. But if you get time, just watch this the non-live, watch the recorded version later if you want to hear some discussion of Jack Green and his games for sure. Yeah, that's right. Holdfast Korea was the first one that kind of got the bad press and kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. We No, we didn't. Single ship on ship. I'm totally into that. I mean, when we were playing Wooden Ships and Iron Men, that's the way we started, right? We started with like ship on ship, and when you get down to that little level of tactical, I'm totally into it for sure. Um, that I ended with what's maybe like my all-time favorite game, Victory in the Pacific. There's a couple more games that I just have on the list here that I'd be interested in playing, but that I don't own. And if anybody's played them, you can chime in. Um, uh, I've always wanted to play this SPI game. There's a copy at my local game shop, a used copy, unpunched, and they want like $100 Canadian for it. Um, I yeah, I want to play this game. I don't want to play it for $100. Um, well, that's interesting. We did cover sort of a handful of filler size games, and varying with varying degrees of like, this was a filler that was great. We loved it. Drank a lot of beer playing it. Or in one particularly enlightening example, there was a filler game that the stupid Joe said he fell asleep playing at a convention. It was so boring. So good to know. Rules the Waves Britannia is worth. Who's who's that by? I don't know that title, so that's who's the publisher and who's it by. You can let us know. Anyway, as well as there's going to be a couple of SPI games on this list. I've always wanted to play this as well. I don't have an angle on a copy or anything, and it's another one where I'm not going to pay top dollar just to track it down and play it once. But I would like to play it because it's an early sort of big war in the Pacific. Yeah, we totally talked about this one for sure. It's actually it's not on my list. Tokyo, yeah, that's because it's on my to buy list. That's I want a copy of that to play it. I'll be interested to see why you say it's controversial. I've always heard good things about it, but that it's not the easiest game to play. This frigate, I think, is another. I think it's sort of like ship on ship or small force on small force. I think. Yeah, I've only got the base game for Mike's system, but if I could find a regular opponent for that, I would snap them all up in a heartbeat because it's a good system. It's just well, as I said earlier, they don't solo great. Well, I guess Mike's system solos better than a lot of them. Um, yeah, I didn't put Yetland on the list. I had that game when I was a teenager. I didn't play with miniatures, but they had those the ships that were, well, they're paper miniatures basically. But yeah, we played that out on the floor for sure. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Carrier. Yeah, Tokyo Express and Carrier. Um, I don't have either of them. I'd love to play. I'd love to play, but I'm not. Those they both go for a fairly decent sum as well. Oh, that's interesting. Carrier Express, the better game in your opinion. That's interesting. I don't think that there was a reprint. Is that right? There was a reprint of Tokyo Express by GMT because when their catalog lives in my head in some ways. I can't think of it, but yeah, I don't doubt it. I guess that might be an easier way to track down the copy. Oh, no reprint. Yeah, that's that's what I was thinking. I was trying to imagine what it looked like in a GMT version, and the image wouldn't come to my head. So my brain wasn't letting me down. But what is the issue with the what makes Tokyo Express controversial? Is it something about the gameplay, or yeah, I hazard to bring it up, but it's something political or something like that? It's probably something about the gameplay that some people don't like. Pacific Victory didn't come up earlier. That's I I ordered there's two editions of that. There was an improved second edition of that. I ordered the second edition from Noble Knight. They accidentally sent the first edition, and then they said, "Oh, we'll send you the second edition when it comes in." Still haven't got it, so I haven't played the first one. While I wait for the second one. Uh, so there we go. The criticism of the torpedo rules in Tokyo Express. So that's what that's a great thing about us wargamers, right? We're going to get down to the minutia about whether the torpedo rules are strike are a good enough model or not, or whatever. Oh, well, there you go. So Steven says Compass has talked about doing a Tokyo Express carrier game as reprints as well. They've been doing a ton of deluxe editions. That wouldn't surprise me. Although those were those are originally published by Victory, and I'm not sure with Avalon Hill. The rights to the games, some of them resided with Avalon Hill and then went to Hasbro, but some of the rights resided with the designers. I don't know how it works with Victory games if any of those designers manage to hang on to the rights to their own designs or not. I don't know how that all worked. Stacks and multiple counters on each ship. We complained about that in a game earlier tonight. I can't remember which one it was, but it was stacks of markers on top of counters. Kind of makes the game look a hell of a lot less pretty. Yeah, we did. We did give. I didn't even talk about tonight. I didn't talk about submarine games, and it wasn't because I was trying to. I should have at least said Avalon Hill's old submarine game. I think the reason I didn't talk about them so much is the real popular submarine games that come to mind are solo games, and I didn't talk about any solo, like dedicated solo games tonight, but the Hunter and the Hunted or whatever games like that. Those are solo games. I think maybe I'm missing some games that aren't solo games and they're great games, and I should be checking them out. Well, there you go. I've got a handful of Jack Green games, and I'm totally happy to keep playing his games. Glad to tell you that I'm not missing out Tokyo Express. Then that's all right. So, Fires in Midway. Yeah, I can see that cover in my mind, but I don't remember. I don't I don't remember like even what the scale is. Fast attack boats. That could have been on my list of SPI games that I missed that I always wanted to get uh, a look at. Yeah, and uh, Battle Lines Wolfpack, and of course there's a new Wolfpack out now, not a totally new game by Mike Berticelli from GMT. That is he's the guy that did Tank Duel, so he's a interesting designer. I think his Wolfpack game is out. Yeah. Okay, so same scale as Midway. All right. I never we didn't talk about Midway tonight because I never played it. Uh, it's it was just my uh, in my teenage years. I didn't have any friends who were into naval games, so that was it. Yeah, we did talk about Atlantic Chase, and yeah, you're right. Solo, it's got you can play that game solo for sure. It's got solo scenarios and face to face scenarios. It is an amazing game, and one of those games that pushes the hobby forward, right? Yeah, Gregory. Yeah, I mentioned those the Hunters, the Hunted. There's a couple more Gregory Smith games. Gregory Smith, who seems to be just like, does he design a new game monthly or is it just yearly? He just that guy seems incredibly prolific to me. I'm not a big solo player, so I don't get to see his stuff, but I appreciate how he goes. Oh, that's nice. That's ship cards for the different volumes to accommodate the markers. I like that. Yeah, that's a nice way to do it to keep the board still looking great. It's funny you say that, Dave. I don't know like what your history with naval games is, but for people who are like I, Midway is a lot of people's first naval game and a lot of people's first war game. Something about that cover. I don't know. It's not the most striking cover. The Midway game. It's a kind of a black and white cover with the red letters, if I'm remembering correctly. But there's a lot of people who say Midway was their first game they ever played, first game they ever bought. Um, I, it just it was it came out a little before I started buying games, and then I didn't. Then I just didn't pick it up later. Crazy, I suppose. Yeah, I think if we bring up any Fresno Games Association, they make a lot of the worst game of all ever, the worst games of all time lists. I don't want to pick on them. I don't know those games. Just whenever you hear them talked about, people say they're terrible, and you hear that so much that when you see one, unless it's $5, you're not gonna pick it up, right? Oh, I did consider tonight Victory in the Pacific as a naval game, just because it really is a strategic PTO game for sure. You're quite right, Vlad. But because Victory in the Pacific is it's just so clearly uh, the, the the ships are the thing, right? The naval battles are the thing. Yes, we are Highland hopping. You know, we've got our Marines and our SLNF Japanese forces, but they play not just second fiddle; they play kind of third fiddle in terms of where the action is. So uh, definitely, definitely, I had to put that on the list. Yeah, it, yeah, you totally hit the nail on the head, Michael. And it's the reason why I have so many unplayed naval games on my shelves, or so many holes in my collection where I really should have bought them. Because there was chunks of time in my life where I just didn't have face to face opponents. I would buy could buy um, Panzer Leader or Panzer Blitz and happily play that and play both sides. But I wasn't going to play Midway because the searching or the hidden things in naval games just make it. You just have to have an opponent. It's just not right. Yeah, it's it's like not having a prom date indeed. But it's good to. I'm glad somebody brought up Midway. And I'm glad to see this Fires of Midway has got talked about enough that I feel like I have to track down a copy because it's getting so much love. Um, God, and I feel like I missed a couple of games from my own list tonight. I can picture a couple of games that I've played that weren't even on the list, but I'm not going to remember the titles. I can just remember what they look like. Well, yeah, that's all the games on my shelves, and even a few more. Um, this has been good. Everybody's got a good, strong opinion about what makes a good naval game. Um, it sort of feels like we had a lot of love for the new games like Jerry White's Atlantic Chase and even the Mike Nagel's system, and then a ton of love for the old Victory in the Pacific and wooden ships and Iron Men. So nice to see the love's not just for the new games. It stretches across the years for sure. I don't think I've. Oh, mm, yeah. I think I have seen that game. The campaign for Guadalcanal. Yeah, I. Yeah, I think I bought it when Mark Ruggiero was getting rid of his collection as he had terminal cancer. Um, he was at GMT West, and he just had a bunch of games that he was giving away. But he also had a donation thing, and so I just put a donation in the box, and that I think campaign for Guadalcanal was the game I picked off the pile. Um, yes, Jonathan, we did talk about Chase of the Bismarck. That was that's the third version of basically that old Bismarck game that Avalon Hill did. Uh, that was originally Charles S. Roberts, and then the second version was with Jack Green, and then that third version that was from VUCA was Jack Green again with Patrick Gilbert. But yeah, we did post some pictures of it as well. That's a gorgeous game for sure. Oh, before the internet and YouTube and whatnot, you kind of yeah, games like Fire and Movement or Movement Campaign, Berg's Review of Games. That was your only way to get some independent opinions about the games. And in terms of Fresno, um, I mean, back then I was buying games before I even saw a review of them for sure. Um, yeah, I can see how naval miniatures are fantastic. I I'd rather paint a few ships than 500 grenadiers any day. I'm not a minis guy at all, but I like to look at them, and I think in terms of all the possible minis, I think yeah, I think naval is the thing that would attract me the most for sure. Wow, Jesus, that's well, so that just puts things in perspective, right? When you have either a relative or just reading about an acquaintance or a friend, and they were on these ships who we've pushed around in counter form on the border. It's yeah, it's we might think of it as an inch and a half long piece of cardboard, but and never forget that it was very very real. Yeah. Wow. Uh, um, Mrs. Thatcher's War. Yeah. Um, yeah, not going to do it. Um, the, my hatred of Mrs. Thatcher is long and unrelenting. Uh, uh, I was young and rebellious when she came to power, and her union busting and all that. Just yeah, I'm not interested in the Falklands War. That's what I'll say about that. Um, uh, is that the same guy that like Warhammer 40K guys? I had no idea that they did stuff that wasn't mechs or fantasy or all that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, if Warhammer that I don't know. My daughter, she paints. She doesn't play Warhammer, but she paints those figures, and I imagine she's going to probably start selling them because she's got so many on her shelves. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Probably is a great game. Yeah, it's just as Elvis Costello said, "Tramp the dirt down." That's what I think about that lady. I'm not gonna get over it. I'm too old and too grumpy. Well, anyway, this has been a fantastic discussion. I've enjoyed talking to you all. I've got some names of some games that I missed along the way that I'm very now. Well, I've got a bit of credit at Noble Knight thanks to some of you. So maybe I'll find a couple of these games that way. I mean, you know, after all these recommendations, maybe I'll have to even get a copy of Mrs. Thatcher's War. Damn. Uh, so all that to say, thanks for coming out. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. I should say I actually I know what we're going to be doing in 2 weeks. I think that's July 31st. I'm going to have a live guest that week. It's going to be Gina Willis, who's designed a couple of air games for GMT with the great Jerry White. But her latest project, she's designing her first blind swords game on the Battle of Atlanta. So it's going to be yeah. She I started. If any of you are into blind swords, I started up I have another Discord server. So there's the Pudging Cardboard server, but I also started up a dedicated blind swords server, and it's been going great guns as well. And Gina's there all the time talking about her new game and talking about design challenges and things like that. There's a couple other people who are designing games for Revolution Blind Sword series talking there as well. So, ooh, nice. Very nice. Yeah. So anyway, couple of weeks, come back and we'll talk. We'll talk with Gina. It should be great. I've spoken with her just in text back and forth. I'm really looking forward to having an interview, and then I've interviewed a ton of designers, but often it's just me and them. Um, a handful of times I've done it live with an audience, and I think that is it's really fun to interview these folks, but also be able to throw in a few questions from the viewers as well. So come back in a couple of weeks and let's talk to Gina. All right. Thanks everybody. Have a good night, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks, or check out the podcast as well with the website. We'll see you around.